Okay, hello guys. So today is our last lesson of A-level ASP1. Okay, so let's move into the volumes of revolution part. Okay, so maybe you have a question like, so what is for revolution? What is the volume of it? Okay, so maybe let's move into a very simple part of it. Okay, so just consider here that we can draw a coordinate. Like there's a coordinate, right? And maybe you can draw a straight line. Okay, so as we said before, like we can just calculate the area just using integration or definite integration, right? So now if you're just trying to rotate for 360 degree and it turns into a cone, like here, okay? So how to calculate the volume here? So maybe this can be considered as a very difficult question. So at here, you can just first trying to extract a very, very small cylinder right here, okay? So that is a cylinder. And you can set like the cylinder's y-axis, the x, it is a very small x value, okay? And then you can just consider like the cylinder's height is y, right? So just we enlarge the graph like here, that this is a cylinder and this is a radius of the circle, right? Base circle, that is y, and the height of it is dx, okay? So if you want to calculate the volume of the cylinder, you can start like just using the formula like pi y squared dx, right? So here, pi y squared means the base area of the circle, and dx means the height. So just using area times the height equals to the final volume of the cylinder, right? Pi y squared dx, okay? That is it. So we can say now this shape or this volume is combined by a lot of or even millions of the cylinder to combine a total cone. Like here, you can draw another cylinder like here, the third cylinder and the fifth, sixth, or even tenth millions, okay, all the cylinder. And you can just consider like just adding their volume together and it will be into the cylinder shape, okay? That is it. So we can say here, like this is pi y squared dx, right? So then you can just add them together so that here is from 0 to, maybe just here this point 1 is from 0 to 1 pi y squared dx, right? Okay, that is basic ideas of this. So we can just conclude that here, if you want to call it a volume, volume can be considered volume equals to pi times integration from a to b y squared dx, okay? That is a exact volume here, okay? Volume equals to pi integration ab y squared dx here, okay? That is it. So that is a volume to consider here. So for example, like here, like if here we have a, like here if we have a shape that is, for here, maybe we can consider like this is y equals to x squared. Okay. So if you want to calculate that this area from 1 to 3, just trying to rotate by x-axis for 360 degrees. So you can just trying to consider like here, it becomes a circle, here it becomes another circle, right? So just trying to draw the graph is like this way. So it's like a volcano shape, right? It's like a volcano shape. Okay. So for the volcano shape, you can just trying to just also cut into a lot of the cylinders. So if here is dx, that this is y, right? Because this is y and this is dx, right? So each cylinder's area or volume can be considered as the base area times the height. So it's pi y squared times dx, right? That is a cylinder shape. So that the area is from 1 to 3, we can make a in-depth definite integration here. It's from 1 to 3 pi y squared dx, right? But here, we cannot calculate pi y squared dx using the integration, right? Because this is y, but finally the main variable is x, right? So if you want to calculate here, you can just put y equals to x squared into the formula. That will become from 1 to 3 pi x squared dx. That is for integration 1 to 3 pi x power 4 dx, okay? That is for pi x power 4 dx, okay? So you can just try to calculate here as pi x power 4 dx. So for this kind of equation, you can calculate for here, that is for 1 over 5, right? That is power plus 1, x power 5, divided by new power, right? That is it. So you can just calculate it here, just put 1 and 3 into it. So that the final answer is 1 over 5 pi 3 power 5 minus 1 power 5, right? So 3 power of 5 can be considered as 243, right? 243 minus 1 is 242, so that is for 242 over 5 times pi, right? That is for this problem. Okay, so that's the basic understanding for the rotations volume. So I hope you can truly understand for cut it into different cylinders and added the volume of cylinders together. That is the total area or total volume of the shape. Okay, so that's for this lesson. See you next time. Bye.